Hi, and welcome to Everyday Pronunciation. This is Sherry Summers, and today our sentences, or rather two sentences, are excuse me, could I get a? Could I get a? Now, that's not a full sentence, as you can tell, but we can put pretty much anything in there that we need to. If you go to a restaurant or a store, or maybe you could even ask somebody in your family, could I get a? So let's take a look at excuse me. Excuse me. Here's what I want you to know about excuse me. This is one of those cases where we have the stress on skews, and the E in there can be used in three different ways. You can say you can say I, or you can use a schwa and say Now the X is a combination sound. It's a combination of, in this case, a K and an S. So we're going to push the S over to the next part, but we end up with X or X or X. X, X, or X. Now we're going to try the That's the one that I keep pushing you for, because that's the one that you probably aren't using and people use the most. So we have excuse. So the X itself is a KS, but when you have another K sound in there with cues, there's a K, a little tiny yes sound, an like shoe, and then a Z sound. So cues, maybe just like the word CUES, cues. So we have excuse or excuse or excuse. Excuse is the strong part. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Okay, on the second part, what I want you to notice is, first of all, how could is very small. Could is usually reduced, and when it is, it sounds like could. Okay? So this happens with could and would and should. When we say them fast, we say could, would, should. So we have could. Now the D on could is going to push over into the I. So you end up with could I, could I, could I. Now this is pretty common, so hopefully you'll be able to use this in other sentences too. But could I, could I, could I. And then we have get. Get is going to be our strongest sound here, our strongest word, but you'll notice that the T is in front of another unstressed vowel. So we'll soften the T, we'll have D. And we end up with could I get a, could I get a, could I get a. Now, I'm stressing get. There is a possibility to stress I. And the reason you would do that is you're saying, we're talking about me, not you, not other people. Could I get a, so could I get that instead of somebody else? So this is actually a little bit more common than could I get a. And generally the word I or any kind of pronoun would not be pronounced strongly unless there was a reason for it. And there is a reason for it here. So let's take a look at the entire phrase. We have excuse me, little baby me, excuse me, could I, okay, I just pushed that over there, could I, okay, we're stressing the I here, could I get a, and whatever it is you want. So, excuse me, could I get a, this is really common. Could I get a napkin, please? Could I get a fork, please? Excuse me. Could I get a cafe grande, please? Excuse me. Could I get a refill? So, excuse me, could I get a excuse me, could I get a, could I get a, could I get a. Try this 100 times today. This is going to be really, really useful for you because I know that you'll be able to use this phrase over and over again in many, many different situations. So try it out, break it down, say it slowly, put it back together, say it fast, and then use it over and over again. And I think once you do that, it'll come out perfectly. Thanks so much. See you again tomorrow.